and welcome to another exciting episode of Radiorama, where, as the name implies, I show you to work on radios. And today we have a Grundig stereo. I'm not sure, actually it's probably not stereo, it's probably mono, but it's a German domestic market set because it's all in German. Aus, probably that's an acronym for a word I can't pronounce, but that means on and off. UKW is short for FM, and then middle wave is for AM. I'm going to confess that I tried it out last week on a Variac and it did work. It is amongst many other stereo systems because I'm in the museum that I volunteer at now, and if you look carefully, you might even see some of the sets that I've restored that might have showed up here, like that big guy there, that Westinghouse. So luckily this doesn't weigh near as much, and it's a relief compared to working on the Magnavox Concert Grand that will appear in an episode before this. I can carry this by myself. It's nice, petite, uncomplicated, not heavy. So I'm going to bring it into the shop and we're going to tear into it. So I brought it into one of the other rooms, and it has carpet so I can get on my knees and not kill myself. Anyway, I don't know what any of that stuff says. You German folks know. Hi-fi music shrunk. Probably something to do with sound. I don't know. Das Rundfunk der Plattenspiel. I'm probably saying that wrong. I think that's saying something about the record player this unit can be put at 110, 125, and 220 volts. Now the one thing I'm concerned about is the record player. But it says it'll operate on 110. I'm hoping there's a setting on the record player, because otherwise it's going to be spinning at 50 hertz, which will be too slow. But I'm assuming maybe it worked at some point, because this thing sure was used. Let me see what the cartridge situation is. That I think is a Rochelle Salt Crystal cartridge, so it may or may not be any good, and they're impossible to find. And when they are found, they're very expensive. I think you can retrofit those. So, without further ado, I am going to take the screws out and see what is needed to take the chassis out. I think the chassis is just going to be, I mean, this is a pretty small unit. I carried it in here. Probably got a table chassis. Well, thank God this is not like your usual German set where everything's soldered in. I can actually unplug everything. I can unplug the speakers, and I can unplug the antennas for both FM and AM. I think that's literally all that's holding it in. We got this little clamp here for the plug. I can take that off, and then there's a bunch of just flathead slot screws that hold the chassis in, so I can pull that out pretty easily. And I got all the screws pulled. My experience with these is that you usually need to crack them off from the rubber mounts. Except that one's on there pretty good. I mean, that one was on there not so bad. Sometimes they get really glued in there. I know I should have taken this off before I started to film. My advice to people, when you get something you think you might lose, put it back in place. Now that should just come out in one piece now. I took the chassis outside and I cleaned it up, and I would say that out of all the German sets I've worked on, this is one of the cleanest. And the other thing I'm super happy about is 99.9% of the time that I work on these guys, this era has this clutch mechanism for AM and FM. And you'll see that there's a friction material, and usually that friction material gets all fucked up. But luckily on both AM and FM, it properly engages. There's a jury-rigged way you can fix that. You can add a little bit of silicone glue or whatever when you pry one of these off and let that solidify and harden, and that can grip it. But I'm not going to need to do that here. The other thing that's nice is that these Grundigs have a tendency to have the volume controls get stuck from the grease, but this is not solidified. It's turning nicely. It just needs to be cleaned a little bit. There's no caps on top. Usually there's caps up here for the output stage. but I haven't flipped it over yet, so let's see what's going on inside. Well, look how... We got organized in here. We've put the pins over there. That's a perfect place. Anyway, these caps, these are equivalent, like the same caps you'd see in my typical American sets. They're paper caps. A lot of them are expressed in picofarads, so you just need to do the math. There's quite a few of them in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All those need to be replaced, and I'm trying to wrap up a little bit because there's people coming in, and it's going to sound like I'm talking to myself. I'm tempted to test that electrolytic to see if it's any good, because we had a Sprague Telemic tester. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to start replacing these paper capacitors. Okay, so I've got the Sprague Telemic cooking away on the capacitor, and be aware, this guy will shock the fuck out of you if you're not careful. I gotta go pee and look for other parts. I'm gonna let that sit around. Hopefully no one will touch it. All right, well this
if it lasts longer than the guy's lifetime that's using it, you're you're okay.
We've been talking about this. I'm filming, by the way, and and they suggest, the folks who are probably smarter than me, in fact I know they are, said yes, your electrolytic looks okay, but due to the age,
it started off bad though, right?
It started out real bad.
Yeah, it was.
So it's not great, but anyway, it would probably pass, but they could fail at any moment, so I'm going to replace both of them and stop being lazy. What are you looking for?
Well, if you get the room to stick something in there.
Oh, I did fill the electrons.
New electrons.
There's electron juice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm mostly done through the recapping stage, and I replaced the most important cap in there. The Neocon brand capacitor. Don't want one of those Neocons in that radio. Anyway, it's
well, they're still around, you know.
I know it's still around. That was more like a 90s thing, but
No,
anyway.
they actually are pretty strong.
Yes. Anyway,
They never go away.
we'll just shed a few more users. I mean, a few more viewers of the channel, but whatever. Anyway,
They never die.
there's 3 or 4 more in here. Plus, I want to replace these electrolytics, especially that one, because that's got real voltage on it. And then I'll clean the controls, and it'll be time to test, see if it still works.
Yes.
All right, well, I have fully recapped the chassis,
It was normally fixed.
inside and out.
Chassis in the house right now.
And I also ran an audio input. See, where are you? Here it is. This audio cable comes through there.
I said, well, we replaced that because that's what we do.
And I cleaned all the contacts really good with some good old D5. And I also cleaned up the knobs, cleaned up the controls. And what I also did was I cleaned out the interior of the cabinet. So I'm going to test this, put it back in there and see if it works. All right, here we go. First ever test fire. Can't tell, it's so bright in here if it's on or not. Let me look back here. I can't tell. I think it's on. Nobody's home. That's no good.
Maybe the strip's not on?
I don't know.
Let's check.
That power outlet should be on.
Well,
I plugged it in over there unless the fuse went out. Turned out the fuse was all cruddy and gross.
laptop, personal stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, even on the phone, did it stop it still there? Yeah. Oh yeah. Trace and then just change it. There's nothing here.
I thought I knew. I don't know anything. What was the issue?
This fuse is bad.
Was it fuse?
Also, I've cleaned the crap out of these controls and they're still being sticky and weird. like right there.
Those tend to go bad. These
No, I just got crap in it. I need to blow it out of there.
Will they film moving?
Hold on a minute. I need to try the audio input. I don't think I'm running anything through it. Well, as you guessed, I'm not at the museum anymore. Sorry for the raucous behavior yesterday, but I brought it home. And I'm having it out here in the sun and just kind of like basically letting this marinate in light-colored Old English for a few hours. Then I'm going to go over it with some carnauba wax. I also need to oil that hinge mechanism because it's not bending in easily. Anyway, I'm going to use this Meguiar's Gold Class Carnauba Plus wax. I don't know what's different about it. It's about the same price as the regular stuff at this point with all the stupid trade crap we're getting ourselves. Well, we're not getting. Someone else who didn't ask our opinions is getting ourselves in this situation. But anyway, this stuff does smell nice. It kind of smells like lemon meringue, so I kind of enjoy using it. And I use this buffing applicator. And in fact, you know what? This thing is pretty much worn out. I'm going to open up my new buffer and put a new pad on it because this is such a nice clean wood. I'd hate to mess it up with this. Alright, well I put the legs back on it. I've been kind of busy cleaning and buffing on it. I mean, these didn't really have a shiny finish. Some of them did. This had more of a satin finish. What the carnauba wax does more than anything. Why did I choose to live under an airport? I don't know. It's like, shut up, plane. Anyway, I'm sure through the magic of AI, it's filtering out a lot of that jet noise. But in the meantime, I did come in and just clean everything really good. And when you wax it, you get kind of a nice smooth finish. It kind of helps also get rid of some of the scratches, and you can see how much cleaner that is. And this blonde wood, only looks stunning when it's super clean, because this minimalist appearance, once it starts getting grubby looking, it doesn't work anymore. So when they're super clean like this, it works. Anyway, the record player's hosed on it, but I've got another stereo that I didn't finish. That guy, which you'll see before this one. So I'm going to finish up on that. But I did what I wanted to do because I think it's going to rain tonight, and I wanted to make sure this got a good cleaning. Here it is connected to power, and I'm going to let these run for a little bit. I want that new oil that I've put stuff into to work its way in real good. And also want a little more time for things to soak into this bearing here, and then I'm going to pop it back up and put the C-clip back on it. I think I'm going to clean this up a little bit while the cover's off, and not the cover, platter off, so I can clean it up a little bit because it's easier. Well, it is time to give it the test. I'm going to start it on 33, and what it should do is drop the record down. Ooh, it's a little slow, and it's getting a little bit stuck right there. Well, that tells me that mechanism still is getting stuck in a few places, so I need to go under there and keep poking around and seeing what else is, I don't know, not moving as easily. You can also just start cycling the mechanism back and forth a whole bunch of times. Sometimes it'll get some of the new oil and whatever you've put in there to work its way in, or not. It's getting stuck right at the end there, so it just needs a little bit of help. All right, here we go. Fuck. Why did you just dump all of them at once? That wasn't supposed to happen. That didn't really warrant me cursing like that, so sorry about that. Anyway, now let's try it. Don't drop all of them. Okay, it dropped one. Good. Now it's starting, for some reason, like a little bit of the ways into the record. But that's okay, I can fix that. More importantly, let's see if it's going to drop the second record. Yes. And again, I have to remind myself, the more weight I add on this, the more inertia the mechanism is going to have to get to the next one. But that's okay. There it goes. I don't want to spend any time on these records. They're awful shop records that probably destroy needles. Okay, get off of there. All right, stop. Good. I'm gonna just keep doing that for a while because I've got nothing else better to do for the rest of the evening. And the more I work it, the better it'll get smoother in operation. Stop. Hey. All right, here's day number, I believe 3 of working on the Grundig. And I came in this afternoon just to make sure this is working well. It seems to be. The unexpected thing I've run into is the radio no longer works on this very well. This is audio input, which is coming through that Bluetooth. But it drops off. So I think I've got a bad connection here.
They get great. Start feeling the relief here.
Participants seek to promote healthy relationships.
Somebody calling JetBlue because the money that they saved you, the heavy.
Yeah, it's bad contact, so I got to take that chassis out again. You see, even on AM, it's having a problem.
They'll help you
Like I said, these things can be aggravating when it comes to the switches. They're very prone to getting dirt. Well,
Why is it so effective?
the one thing I did try, and I know a lot of people are like, well, duh, you should have done that before, and I have to remind myself.
Let me tell you.
Start with the simple things first, and the problem was the tube.
From over 50 people.
And I think what was happening is that maybe the tube had a short in it. It was weird because what it was doing is it was cutting off. So I'm not sure if it was maybe the cathode was messed up. I don't know. But it's working pretty good now. It's pretty sensitive. It's picking up a lot of stations I have a hard time picking up on average. Let's see if we can pick up KEXP.
Return to it in moments of
appointment process on any other
It's not bad.
Never subside. I never wanna miss a moment alive.
All right. Meanwhile, the record player continues to run. It seems like it's a little slow compared to yesterday. Well, let me try this again. Or ideally, this should work pretty smoothly. It says it's like sloppily put the record on there. All right. Should have pretty consistent, smooth action here. It's all right. I think it's because it was pretty cold out here for California anyway. It was got down in the 50s, but usually wouldn't keep your house at 50 degrees. So now that it's like in the 70s. I don't know. I'm going to re-lubricate the bottom of it again, but I'm really glad that the radio is working. So all that's good. And I actually cleaned the crap out of all the controls again because I thought it was maybe the problem, and now it's super clean. Well, I think I might have found the problem, and it was my problem, my mistake. This cap kind of leaning over, and I think it might have been touching. It's a low voltage cap, but that could have killed the signal. Otherwise, I really couldn't find anything out of the ordinary in here. I mean, just by physical looking. I know that doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I don't see anything burned. I'm not really seeing anything touching, even though it's kind of hard to tell in these guys because everything is so tight. But I really don't see anything. Also, EABC 80 is barely alive, and I'm not sure if I have any more. I tested all the tubes, and a lot of them are actually pretty weak, including the ECC 85. I'm surprised it picked up as good as it does, because even though it looks pristine, I think it might have been used quite a bit, because those tubes are showing mostly pretty low emission. Alright, well I put a new well not a new, I put another EABC 80 in there.
My world has total integrity.
And I noticed I had more ECC 85s.
I feel like my world has total integrity too, but
So I stuck that in there.
I don't know.
And now it seems okay. I'm going to let it run for a while because now I don't trust it. It's like now it's going to fuck up again or something. Well, last thing I need to do is adjust the tone arm because it's going in a little bit too far in the record when it starts, on 33s especially. And I don't remember what his name is, but he's on YouTube too. He uses I think it looks like the Fabulous Thunder version of his avatar. British gentleman, but I think he lives in the US. Anyway, he has a very handy video, and he shows you how to adjust the tone arm, meaning how do you get it to like go in more. And you loosen this little nut here and adjust that screw. And I've only done it one at a time, so I've totally forgotten how to do it already. But the idea is you can slowly adjust it to get it to where you want. Oftentimes you have to do that if you change a cartridge out, for example, but I've got to go a little bit further than that. This is terrible lighting. I need to turn this damn thing around. Anyway, it's been sitting here running for about 45 minutes on FM solid. I don't know what the condition of the ECC 85 tube is, but this is a not easy station to pick up that it's picking up right now, at least around me.
All right, so you and Throughline producer extraordinaire.
It sounds so much better. I think all those tubes were sick. That makes me remind myself I need to probably check out the rest of them that I didn't replace, including the output tubes. All right, moment of truth. There we go. Okay.
I was a lonely one. I used to lie awake and wonder if there could be someone in this wide world just made for me. Now I see I had to save my love for you. I never gave my love to you.
Well, sounds pretty good. Wait a minute. Have I got the right needle on? Yes, I do. Okay. But it seems to be working pretty good. I can hope it continues to do that. But I think that's all I'm going to do for the evening. Daylight saving time's changed. It's messed me all up, and it's a lot later than I thought it was. It's like 6:30. Time to go in for dinner.
There are those who can leave a love or take it. Love to them is just what they make it.